All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this recording is related to your assignment one that you need to go and complete. I want you to look at the graph and I want you to let me know, what do you need to create a schedule for your assignment? What's the first very important thing you need to do? So that, all right, ladies and gentlemen, so this lead, I want you to look at the graph and I want you to let me know, what do you...
List down the activities first and then work on the duration and stuff.
Okay, so we need to go and create the list of all of these activities first. That's 100% correct. So without those activities, we don't know what we need to go and do. Once you create the list, how do you create the list of activities? What do you need to look at in your assignment to help you create the list of activities?
The tasks and stuff.
So you need to go to your assignment. You need to look at the briefing document that we've added for you. It gives you a background. It tells you about the topic. It tells you about what we're trying to go and create. It tells you about the task details. It tells you about the specific things you need to do. And I've added some extra things actually in the sample I'm going to give you. And it gives you all of this information. So
can I just ask you a question?
Go on.
You know, the list of activities we are talking about in the schedule, is it almost the same as the work break structure as well?
The list of activities, okay. The list of activities is really about the work break and structure. The only difference between the schedule and the work break and structure is the work break and structure give you this list, and then the schedule picks up on that list. The schedule goes and puts start time and end time. The schedule goes and put what comes first, what comes after. The schedule goes and put who is going to be doing the job. Okay? But this is the foundation. So you create the work break and structure, and from the work break and structure, you'll be able to start creating start dates, end dates, tasks, predecessors, Gantt charts, to name a few.
More like a predecessor.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
So the first thing we need to create a very good assignment is we need to create a very detailed work break and structure. What else do we need to do? So what else other than a very good detailed work break and structure? Anyone? Anybody else? Okay, so what I would say is something not related to that particular task. You need to go and ensure you are working very well with your team. Now, we noticed so far that you guys haven't even started working on your task. We are week 5. Actually, are we week 5 or week 4? We are week 4 now. The assignment is due early in week 7, so not at the end of it. So you have basically a few weeks to go to be able to work on that assignment. The assignment requires a lot of work and you really need to start working on it. Now, I want to go through a few things to be able to go and try to guide you. The first thing I want to go through is I want to go through the actual, I want to go through Google, and I want to go and show you the first thing you need to basically be looking at this stage. So what's the first thing you should be really looking at? The first thing is, on your Moodle, there is under week 1, there's a JWD project section. Now, this is a foundation document that gives you a lot of information about what you need to do for your assignment. I've loaded it there for a reason. If you go and open that file, and if you start looking at that file, you'll be able to see that it talks about various stages of the project, initiating stage, business case, it talks about, let's say, more about initiation, talk about stakeholder register, we give you samples, charter, give you samples. So give you a lot of samples about various things that needs to go and be completed. Now, this is a very foundational document that basically helps you to go and get your assignment to be completed. So I do encourage you to really go and ensure you are working on that activity, you are studying that activity, and doing it, do things according to what is actually mentioned there. Another thing I want to go and mention is I want to show you something else that is going to go and help you. So I want to go and kind of show you some sample, but that sample basically I've just added it myself, so it's not complete yet. It's just there's more that you need to go and complete, because this is the first time we run this subject. So I'm going to highlight some things that are good and some things that are bad about what I'm going to show you now. But let me go and try to load this file for you and try to show you and give you a bit of an idea about the work that you need to go and be completing. So if you go and look here, that is a sample assignment. The first thing you will need to put before that sample assignment is you need to go and put the SISTC assessment cover page. That's the first thing needs to be. That's the first thing that we need to go and put at the beginning of that assignment. Then on the next page, we're going to need to write your executive summary. Then we're going to need to go and write the table of content. Now, one thing about this table of content I don't like is you need to be numbering headings and subheadings. And I don't necessarily like this format of this table of content. I don't like the order. I think it could be much more structured in terms of, maybe put stages of project management, maybe put something else. But this is very, very cumbersome. It's just, you can't follow. There's no numbering. There's no proper structure. So my advice to you is to try to create a structure that is numbered and making sure it's it basically makes sense, it flows well, and it's logical. You create, obviously, an introduction. You notice here there was no introduction. So I encourage you to go and create an introduction. And then you start creating the task 1 details, okay, which is whatever it is, task 1 details, and you start creating whatever, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. You basically need to always have numbering and sub-numbering. So you need to create a project charter, and you can see the JWD project sample that I gave you for some samples. But what I expect you to do, any sample we show you, I expect you not to go and actually accept this as the 100% reality. We can't change it. I want you to go and show me that you've done more research. I want you to go and show me that you thought about how could I make the job even better? How could I get more outcome and better outcome delivered by going and finding extra things? So don't simply go and look about about one structure and saying that's what it is. I want you to always make the adjustments accordingly. So for example, the project charter, who is in the team, who are the stakeholders, and so on. So all of this information, this could be, any of the team members here. Project scope. I showed you a sample again. Maybe you create a table, maybe you make it looks better. You can look at the briefing document that I loaded for you guys for some information about what is in scope, what is out of scope. You can add extra information, summary and justification of the project. But look at the structure that I gave you. Okay, project characteristics, what are we asking you for, and so on. So you need to look at the sort of structure. Project deliverables, what are we trying to go and deliver? Related deliverables, there's all of these things you go and you try to go and bear in mind. What are we trying to go and really achieve? Product related deliverables, what are they? If that's relevant, obviously, for your assignment. Project success criteria. How do we know that the project was successful? Delivered within time frame, delivered within budget, meeting the expectation of the client, things like that. You need to show me how does that relate to the project you're trying to go and do. Who are the stakeholders? Now that's a very, very poor stakeholder register. You need to think about many internal and many external stakeholders. it's nice if they kind of done a graph, but we need a lot of details. Now, this is here good, like, you know, what's different about the stakeholders now? What is missing here is, well, you know, how are these stakeholders different? How do we need to manage them differently because they have different power? What about their interests? Should I know about their interests or should I not know about their interests? They might have a high power, but they don't have any interest in my project whatsoever. So these are a few things to go and really bear in mind. Think about the work breakdown structure. That needs to be into very, very, very big details. And you can't just give me a standard. You know, I need you to go and think, what is the actual software? What am I asking you for? So I need to go and see that you've looked at the briefing document. I need to go and see that you've incorporated everything I said is needed. I need to see the names of these sort of things. Here, I want to see these mentioned in your work breakdown structure because this relates to the things you need to do. You need to mention it there and show me that you've done the job as required. You need to go and create, like here they created a detailed work breakdown structure, but where is the schedule? Where is the start end? Where is the end date? Where is the people doing the job? There's no information about any of that details. Risk register, okay, there's much more that could be done. You know, impact, okay, risk level, okay, likelihood of occurrence, okay, you know, risk owner. So there's a few things here. See, can you make the risk register differently? Can you make it any better? Go to Google, check any formats there. Is there anything else I could do? Maybe also add things about, maybe I'll just put that at the end and I'll tell you. Okay, I'm gonna add it here so that you guys will have it. Maybe add meeting minutes. I'm just telling you all the things that will help you to get a good mark. I'm just giving you some suggestions. So about what can you do to get a good mark. So you can see here, okay, I said full schedule needed, risk register, okay. Budget, you can see these tasks here on the budget. Look here, they're all related to what's in the work breakdown structure because remember they are really goes hand by hand. These are basically the budget is detailed about doing nurse tasks. So you go and see, okay, how much time is it going to take me? What's the rate per hour? What's the estimated cost? And when you want to go and tell me, let's say, when you're going to tell me a developer is going to take me $300 a day, I'm going to straight away say, where did you get that information from? I want to see that you've done the research. I want to see that you showed me that you've done the research that is needed to tell me where this costing. You know, if there's a tester, if there's a developer, if there's a web designer, have you done the research that is needed to be able to go and get the job done as expected? Or have you not? This is something very, very important to go and actually bear in mind. So there's a budget, you calculate the budget, and this is a very poor, you know, I don't know if it's poor, but you're adding all of these, you get to the total, they're adding contingency and so on, and they're showing you where they got some formatting, but their in-text referencing is wrong. So if you want to do referencing, please make sure you do the referencing correctly. You need to add a communication plan, which is what I've asked you to do. You need to add a stakeholder management plan. And you can go to Google to search for some examples, but you can go to the JWD project document that I've uploaded for some details. Add some systems development graphs as per webinar number 3. So you're going to say, what is webinar number 3? Well, I'm going to go for those who basically were not here in webinar number 3. And I'm going to go and show you. So all right, so specifically, I've uploaded this content for you in webinar number 3. And I'll show you some examples. I started talking about, okay, the objectives, the problem, the need, you know, the initial activities. You know, we started kind of talking about graphs here. Okay, work breakdown structure. Okay, that's fine. But this is here. Okay, use cases. You know, objects, class diagrams. You know, the relationship between various things that might be on the system. You don't need to go into a lot of details, but you know, start thinking about some of these things that we discuss in terms of the actual systems development. Start thinking about some of these activities. Can you actually incorporate any graphs? I don't need too many, but at least I see that you did think about these things and the importance of incorporating them as part of your work. So I want to make sure that you've thought about that and you've incorporated some of that as part of your assignment. One thing before we even reach to this stage here at the beginning, you know, I think it's also important to kind of here, you know, mention, you know, discuss requirements, which is a section I actually went and also mentioned for you guys. So it's very important to discuss the requirement before you do the work breakdown structure. If I go down to the, you know, that's what I said, add some system development graphs as per webinar 2 and ask task 2. So task 2 is really about this question that I've asked you here. And this question really relates to, you know, you are also expected to discuss the SDLC models and their benefits. So maybe discuss a few SDLC models and say, what is the benefit of the SDLC approach of delivering projects? So think about that and discuss that. Obviously, the biggest task is task 1, but this is more a smaller task and this requires more research for you to be able to do the job. Finally, guys, there's a conclusion, there's a group activity. What have you guys done? I expect you to mention what people have done. I expect the table. This is very, very important here. I expect a table which shows me the percentage of contribution of each member. If, for example, we see that, let's say, someone worked 25% of the 25% and someone only worked 12.5%. If this team got 20 over 20, this person will get 10 over 20 because that person have not done the job the way that he's supposed or she's supposed to go and get the job done. So we will look at the contribution. If people are not contributing, they will get less marks immediately on their assignment. Things like lessons learned on the assignment would be recommended. If you can add some meeting minutes, that's recommended. References, obviously you follow the format we've actually highlighted for you guys on the subject outline. API style referencing is what we are recommending. No numbering is needed, but just use the API style referencing. So you can see there's a lot to go and do for your assignment. It is not something that's going to take 1 day or 2 days. It's something that's going to require a lot of hard work. And I've just wanted to do this recording quickly to make sure you guys have a clear understanding on the requirements and you start working and understanding that is a lot of work that you need to go and do. Now, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask the questions. Do you have any questions at all about your assignment? Any questions at all? Okay, guys, if there's no question and you guys are clear on what to do, I will say, you know, this is a summary of the project management we've done today in lecture 4. You know, project time management is often cited as the most important source of conflict because most IT projects exceed estimates. We're talking about so many processes we need to go and bear in mind, and we need to be able to go and manage well, including starting with a good work breakdown structure all the way up until we have a good schedule, which is what I've showed you we need to go and do for the assignment. For this week, you need to review the webinar content and the notes you've taken, continue working on assignment 1, which is due at the beginning of week 7, and go over the videos that are loaded on Moodle. Next topics next week, I'm going to talk about cost management, which really relates to the work you need to go and actually be completing for your actual assignment. So please make sure you are following the stuff we do in details. And if you have any questions, make sure you go and you actually let us know. But obviously, there's a lot for us to go and do. There's a lot of work to go and do, and I needed to make sure you're working on that task very early. Now, I'll ask you again. Anybody have any questions?
I'm good, sir. Thanks.
Everyone is good? Shahriar, was that helpful?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was pretty helpful. Yeah.
All right, that's very good. Guys, do you need anything else? Is that good for you? All right, guys. Thank you very, very kindly for your time. I know we took over the allocated time, but thank you very much for all your effort, and I'll look forward to see you again next week. Monday, lectorial, we often talk about the assignment. So it's very important that when we talk about the assignment, you are present. I don't simply discuss the lectorial, I also discuss the assignment. So I recommend that you guys come to the lectorials, listen, and make sure you learn from everything that I'm going to be mentioning. Thank you all for your time. We'll talk very soon. Thank you.